Hi everyone, I'm Christy Goranson and welcome to Washington Grown. To get the best end product, you have to start with the best ingredients. So in the case of beef and dairy products, it all starts with premium hay. So this episode is all about hay. We'll head to Lacey and check out Ricardo's Steakhouse to cook up a juicy Tomahawk Steak. I have bling, you have bling.
That's how we do it.
Let's cook. Then we're at Anderson Hay in Ellensburg, where they compress hay bales and ship them around the world. And Tomas is seeing how the tasty Ferdinand's ice cream and iconic Cougar Gold cheese are made.
Oh, that's the trick.
That is the trick.
All that and much more on Washington Grown.
Oh!
Woo! Is that
Are you ready to cook me up?
Okay, I don't have the hang of this.
So this is where we get our water.
Cheers.
Hopefully they won't eat my shoelaces. One place that we can all reap the benefits of good hay is at a steakhouse. So we're in Lacey checking out Ricardo's. It's a fun, relaxed atmosphere serving up juicy steaks that all the locals rave about.
By far makes the best steaks around, and I just love a good steak. And if you want a good steak, you go to Ricardo's.
The food, the atmosphere, it makes you feel like you're at home. It's awesome.
It's relaxed and cozy, but upscale. You can feel like you can come in after work in your business attire, or you can get dressed up and go on a date here.
I met up with the owner and head chef of the restaurant, Ricardo Nelson, to chat about his popular restaurant. How would you describe the atmosphere here?
People always call and say, is there a dress code? We just say, come dressed. That's all we ask. We like to be easygoing, and we just like people to be comfortable and have fun. That's the big thing, is food needs to be fun.
What's the most popular item on your menu?
The tomahawk, that's very popular. That's a very talked about steak. Obviously, you only need an inch or two of the bone for the flavor aspect. That is, the rest is shock and awe, and just kind of fun.
You're known for the meat here.
Our slogan's the place for steak, ... period. And we spell out the word period, and I'll be out shopping at the store, and people just come by and say, you got the best steak, man. You are the place for steaks.
You use Washington beef, right?
Yes.
And Washington grown food. You use it. Does it make a difference?
I think it makes a huge difference. We have some really good relationships with some of the local farmers. We have farmers that actually come and bring right to us, and that's passion, and that's what food's about. And when you can take their passion, mix it with my passion, you put love in the food, and people just enjoy it, and they pick up on it. You can taste it.
So what are we gonna make today?
We're gonna make a tomahawk steak with some wild mushrooms, and then of course you gotta have a little potato.
Right. I can't wait. I'm hungry. Hungry already.
Me too.
Now, Tomas is just south of the Tri-Cities, meeting up with hay farmer Drex Gauntt at Gauntt Farms.
Tell me a little bit about where we're at.
We are here in the northwestern part of Walla Walla County. Out here we farm about 2,000 irrigated acres. On those acres we farm alfalfa and timothy. Both of them get harvested and put in bales for hay.
This looks great.
Thank you.
Out here, what is this that we're standing in?
This is alfalfa.
Okay.
We cut this alfalfa 4 to 5 times a year. We cut it, we leave it lay for several days and let it dry, then we bale it.
So you said you cut this 4 to 5 times, so it's not just a one cut and we're done.
It's not a one and done deal.
Okay.
Alfalfa is a perennial crop, so not only will I cut it 4 to 5 times this year, I will cut it 4 to 5 times for 3 years. Some alfalfa farmers leave theirs in for 4 years.
Where does hay fit in the overall scheme of the food chain that we're dealing with?
So, if your hamburger and milkshake was a house, this is the foundation. This is where it all starts. This is what holds it up. There are other things that cows eat to produce the food that we make, but the protein and the roughage in alfalfa is one of the vital building blocks for dairy cattle and beef cattle both.
All right, Drex, so I got a couple of big piles here. What are we looking at?
So these are 2 piles off the same field. These 2 piles are a little bit more yellow in color.
Okay.
Are first cutting alfalfa hay. The other pile to our left here is also alfalfa hay. It's second cutting alfalfa hay. We cover the tops of it so that it can sit here and be protected from weather. If we get a little rain shower, it keeps the hay dry, because once you get this hay dry, one of our enemies is moisture.
Okay, mold and
If it
things like that,
it gets wet from the rain, we can have some mold, absolutely.
So this stuff will go out first, I'm guessing, right?
It depends, they go to different customers.
Okay, where's that going?
This stuff will probably go to a dairy.
Okay.
First cutting alfalfa makes very good milk.
Why is that?
Has a lot of protein in it. Protein equals milk. This second and third cutting is really good hay for the beef guys and for the guys that don't need as much protein in their hay.
This is kind of where it all starts, isn't it? I mean, this is it. This is the beginning.
This is the beginning. This is the foundation for a lot of our food.
Wow, right there. That's it. Your steaks and dairy right here. We're fortunate. We have the Columbia River close by. Tell me a little bit about how you're watering your crops here.
When you see drought in the headlines like it is this year, we want everybody to know that we are efficient with every drop of water that we put on this farm. We're able to measure how much we put on the fields and keep a running total through monitoring at the center of the field when the water goes through the pipes, but also monitoring in the ground. We don't take out the amount that we're allotted by the state. We take out the amount that we need to grow these crops.
And it may not be that allotted amount.
It often is less. We use a lot of things. I can control the irrigation from my phone or my iPad as well. And if there's a problem with the irrigation, it will send me a text message and an email, so then I can go check and see what happens to be the problem with that circle.
There really is an app for everything.
There is an app for that.
Well, Drex, thank you so much for showing me around.
You're welcome.
I appreciate it. You're doing great work out here, and the next time I take a bite of a burger or drink a milkshake, I'm gonna thank you first.
Thank you.
For more information on farming in Washington, visit our website at wagrown.com. I'm with Mark Anderson, the owner of Anderson Hay. We are in Ellensburg, and this is a huge operation. Kind of tell me what you do here.
Well, this operation represents our headquarters here in Ellensburg, and we also process and compress hay here. Basically, it's the natural field bales come in and get compressed through hydraulic rams and increase the density, which ultimately will double the container weights. And then we load it directly into the containers and then truck it directly to the ports for export.
Are there big challenges, or?
Well, depending on the year, there's always challenges. Rain during harvest is always a challenge. The current problem of not having enough water, especially in the Yakima River Basin, is a huge challenge. We're also very dependent on whether it's Snoqualmie Pass for trucking or whether it's the operations of the ports of Seattle and Tacoma. There's a lot of variables in this business that a lot of people probably don't realize from the outside.
What do people say about Washington hay?
Well, the export market is very attracted to Washington hay, and really hay all up and down the west coast of the U.S. They're looking for a high quality feed that we can consistently deliver month after month, year after year. They really are coming here because of our good dry climate, and we're able to naturally cure the hay, get it put up right.
Why is weed control important for hay farmers?
Well, our customers expect a clean product. In many cases, most countries we ship to can't have any soil, they can't have any contamination whatsoever. The shipment would actually come back. So you can't just be an average operation to raise export hay, you really have to be a commercial operation. And Eastern Washington has by percentage, one of the highest percentage of export-orientated hay farmers, because there's a large percentage of Eastern Washington hay that gets exported. And that has a huge economic impact, because when you look at it, it's not just facilities like this and the jobs that come with it, but you have farming families, you have equipment companies that are selling them equipment and parts, you have vendors that are doing the fertilizing, you have irrigation companies that are part of that. A big part of the reputation for Washington hay products is the quality growers and the committed growers that are part of the process.
Top of the game.
Right. We figure that there's about 10,000 households in the state of Washington that depend on hay or hay production as part of their income. So it's a huge player in the agricultural economy of Washington.
Absolutely. Coming up, we're back at Ricardo's to cook up a tomahawk steak with all the fixings on the side. This is a treat right here. We're back at Ricardo's in Lacey. It's a popular low-key restaurant with what locals say is the best steak around.
It's our go-to place in the whole region. It's all good. You can't make a mistake here.
It's the most tender steaks you'll find in Olympia, or Lacey, or Tumwater. I mean, he by far makes the best steaks around, and I just love a good steak.
Now we're going into the kitchen with owner and head chef Ricardo Nelson to cook up a tomahawk steak with a mushroom confit and some tasty potatoes on the side. I have bling, you have bling.
That's how we do it.
Let's cook.
All right, let's cook.
We have a lot of meat here. What is this?
We got lucky. So this is called a tomahawk steak. It's usually a steak for two here.
Okay, yeah. I was
We
gonna say, that's
do
a
get
lot
a couple big guys that got something to prove and they eat it themselves, but it's generally for two people.
First, we sprinkle some seasoning on both sides of our steak.
What's in here?
So a little salt, pepper, and granulated garlic.
Then we heat up some olive oil and duck fat in a pan.
Now, why duck fat? Explain the duck fat.
The question should be why not?
Why not?
I don't know, because it's so good. It can handle the high temperatures, and it's just flavor. It smells like, you know, when you walk into grandma's house and she's been cooking all day long, you can get that by putting that in your pan. You can have that robust, like you've been cooking all day long.
Once the fat melts, we add our tomahawk steak.
So this is like a showstopper.
When we first put it on the menu, it was just this novelty item. You wouldn't sell that many. Once we put them on display, and then you started seeing them on Facebook, everyone was taking pictures of them gnawing on the bone.
Funny.
And now we can barely keep them up.
While searing our steak, we start slicing an onion for our wild mushroom confit and add it to a pan with a little more duck fat.
Onions are cooking. We're gonna add a little of our house-cured bacon. This is not technically raw.
No,
please do.
I just
Please
want
do.
to like touch it and smell it.
Yep.
Oh my gosh, that smells so good.
No, I love
That
this
is
product.
good.
We're just gonna
Adding
pull a little
some
flavor
flavor.
and let these guys kind of crisp up a little bit. And those are those little bites that you go extra wow on.
Yeah.
We add our bacon to the onions, followed by some Washington mushrooms, the same seasoning we used on the tomahawk steak, and a little butter. Now we're using some potatoes that have been cooked and drained to make a tasty side dish for a steak.
You're gonna be my mash helper. You can do that.
I can.
Okay.
I can mash.
I'm just gonna add a little bit of horseradish in here.
Okay.
And of course, gotta get a little bit of butter.
Nothing really goes better with steak than potatoes.
I agree. You know, the tomahawk is essentially kind of like a prime rib, the way we're cooking it real slow and roasted. So horseradish works very well. That's just a little fresh cream, salt and pepper.
How's that?
That is.
You want to
I'm liking that.
add your flair to them?
No, you're the flair.
I'm the flair.
And now it's time to plate our meal.
I'm getting hungry, so
Yeah, no kidding.
I'm thinking we can do that. So
Seeing you make all this good food.
First, our potatoes, followed by the steak,
it always likes to climb up stuff, so we just kind of let it get right in there.
a little grilled asparagus, and our mushroom confit.
Amazing. That just goes on top.
That's right on top.
Perfection.
That is. I think
Love
so.
it. This is bling. This is the Ricardo's bling right here.
That is. My steak has a necklace. You know, that's what we go for on that. I don't even know how to approach this sometimes.
While you cut that, I'm gonna eat some of these potatoes over here because I'm a sucker for potatoes.
Cut you a little bite there.
Thank you. I wish I could take you with me every time I have steak.
I know, to start cutting some up for you.
This is a treat right here. That is so delicious. I love it. Thank you, Ricardo.
Yeah, thank you very much.
To get the recipes for this meal at Ricardo's, log on to our website at wagrown.com.
Now, we don't traditionally eat hay, but you know what? We sure do reap the benefits from good hay. Matter of fact, what I have here is some bread topped with butter from a grass-fed cow. And then over here, I've got butter from a grain-fed cow. And what I'm about to do is I'm gonna go out and see if people can taste the difference between the grass-fed butter and the grain-fed butter. You like butter?
Love it.
What do you guys like to put butter on?
Popcorn.
Popcorn?
Toast.
Toast?
Pretty much anything.
I have two types of butter that I'd like you to try. One is from a grass-fed cow, The other's from a grain-fed cow. I just want you to try them and tell me if you see if there's a difference and maybe what you like better. Okay, there's one.
Good, yeah. It's really creamy. Light, creamy, yeah.
So now let's try butter beef.
I would say that's a little bit sharper.
What about you?
It's good. I can't really judge butter though.
This one has a little sweeter taste than that does.
Butter A was made with butter from cows that only ate grass. B is the grain-fed.
There you go. So they're both real butter though.
They're both real butter, just grass-fed and grain-fed. Do you like them both, right?
Yeah,
Could you tell a significant difference between the two?
Not really.
A little bit, but not.
A little bit,
Not much. Yeah, not bad. I was looking for a difference, but if I wasn't looking for a difference, they'd both be fine.
Coming up, everyone knows and loves those iconic Cougar Gold cans. We're getting a behind-the-scenes peek at the WSU Creamery.
In 1984, Wendy's restaurant launched an ad campaign with the catchphrase, "Where's the beef?" The phrase chided competitors who were using skimpier beef patties. Generous servings of beef are still coveted by many a beef eater, along with a growing market of beef consumers opting for smaller servings of more expensive grass-fed beef. All cattle are grass-fed, but a few months before going to market, regular beef is grain-finished to produce larger gains in protein and fat. The higher fat content is preferred by many beef eaters. For others, their choice is determined by price, with grain-finished beef being less costly than grass-finished. Part of the expense for all beef is the feeding requirements during Washington State's long winter months when the ground and grass have frozen, especially during those times nutritious hay is used as feed. Regardless of grass-fed or regular, beef is an excellent source of protein, iron, and vitamin B12. As a main dish or used as an ingredient, beef is amazingly versatile, used in tacos, casseroles, hamburgers, sandwiches, and stews to name a few. In many cultures, beef bones are used to make delicious soup broths such as Vietnamese pho. At the supermarket and farmer's market, buying locally raised Washington beef answers the question, where's the beef?
Not only is hay one of Washington's top commodities, but we can also thank it for some of our favorite local treats. Tomas is at Ferdinand's Ice Cream Shop at the Washington State University Creamery, home of delicious ice cream and the world-famous Cougar Gold cheese.
My first stop is to meet up with the Creamery's manager, Russ Salvadolina. I have friends all over the Northwest that know about Ferdinand's. But tell me a little about Ferdinand's. How long have you guys been here? How did you guys start?
So over almost 70 years now, we've been utilizing our students to make really high quality dairy products.
So it's all done here in-house then?
It is. We have our own university dairy farm about 7 miles away. And so every morning one of our students gets up early, drives out there, picks up the milk, brings it back here on campus, and we convert it into cheese and ice cream.
It's about as homemade as it gets.
It's really good.
I was ready to jump right in for a behind the scenes look at Ferdinand's. But first, I asked Russ what makes their dairy products so good. One of the most important factors, high quality milk from well-fed cows.
The cows out there are really pampered and they get really high quality feed. They get their alfalfa hay from Columbia Basin. We have pretty good people working on what these cows are getting fed to make sure that they're getting high quality, so they're producing high quality milk.
Right, and that's it. It's the chain. It's the hay is where it starts, to the cows, to the dairy, to the ice cream and cheese.
To your mouth.
To my mouth, which I can't wait for.
If you can eat ice cream that's made in the same building that you're eating it in, that's the best ice cream you're ever going to get.
That's the trick.
That is the trick.
The first steps of making ice cream are the necessities, like pasteurization, homogenization, and aging. Then comes the tasty part. The mixture is put into flavor vats.
Today we're making what we call a chocolate mix.
Right. So all three of these are running chocolate right now?
Everything has chocolate today.
Triple chocolate.
Exactly.
Once the ice cream has its flavor, air is then added to make a soft serve mixture that is now ready for some delicious add-ins.
We have a machine in the front that adds the cookie dough pieces uniformly.
Right.
And then as the finished product comes out of the end of the tube, our students are waiting with a 3-gallon tub there to catch it, and they pack it up, put a lid on it, and they immediately put it into a freezer that's a big room that's at minus 20 degrees Fahrenheit.
Now, you can't talk about the WSU Creamery without talking about the cheese that everyone loves, Cougar Gold.
Early this morning, we pasteurized the cheese milk. It went into the cheese making machine. We add the good bacteria that we want to be able to form the acid. And then once that coagulates, then we turn the agitator on, we cut it into curds and whey, and then we pump it onto this draining table. And a little bit here, our students will start raking the curds to the sides, cutting it into loaves and flipping and stacking it, and that's the cheddering process.
Once they're flipped, the curds are molded to fit in those iconic Cougar Gold cans. Then the cans are refrigerated for up to a whole year before they're ready to be sold. Well, Russ, thank you once again.
All right, you're welcome. Come
Now,
again.
Can I try some ice cream now?
Yeah, let's get some big bowls.
All right, let's do it.
We're in the kitchen at Second Harvest, and I'm with Kristen here, and we are cooking up some really good stuff.
We're making some really tasty weeknight fajitas.
So they must be pretty easy to do.
Very easy for a busy week. Start it in the morning to marinate it,
Okay.
and then just have it cooked in a flash.
We start off by whipping up the marinade for our beef.
You're gonna mince that garlic for us.
Okay.
And in the bowl already, we have some chili powder and cumin, and we have some oregano, and coriander and salt.
All right.
You're gonna add garlic and canola oil and some lime juice. And I am gonna get started cutting our
So
beef.
now why do you like skirt steak or flank steak for this type of dish?
Both of those cuts of beef are used for really fast searing kind of meat, and they have a really nice beefy, strong flavor. But it's a cut that's kind of tough. When we go to cook them, you want to cut it against the grain.
Okay.
So you can see the grain of the beef is the part, you can see those kind of,
Just like striations.
yeah, striations in
Yeah.
the meat that are coming that way. And we want to cut against it.
Okay.
So we're just going to cut about 1/4-inch strips going against that grain. And then that makes it so that when it's in your mouth, you have to do less work.
Sure.
To chew up that muscle, and then
So
it's
this is
nice
important to know right
yeah.
here.
Yeah, you cut it the wrong way and you're having very chewy fajitas.
Very chewy. Kristen continues cutting the meat while I finish up our marinade.
And we're gonna mix these together. You can do this in the morning and then let it marinate through the day.
Okay.
And come back, and then at dinner time, all you have to do is just get your peppers and your onions ready. This cooks in less than 10 minutes.
Don't you love this kitchen?
It is a beautiful kitchen.
Oh, it is beautiful. And it's amazing that this is in the middle of a food distribution center for the needy.
It's an
Second
inspiring
Harvest.
place to be.
It's a food bank, right. And
Yes.
so you can hear the beeping in the background from all the forklifts that are working hard, getting all that food ready
For families that need
storage.
it.
I know,
Yeah.
I know. And they teach families how to use the food that they receive and how to cook healthy meals, like you're teaching me. So once our meat's cut, we put it in a gallon baggie and dump the marinade on top.
You can just kind of rub it in with your hands a little bit. Now we'll put it in the fridge.
Okay.
And let it start resting.
And how long is it going to marinate for?
Probably about 8 hours. The nice thing is you can do it up to this step and put it in the freezer. I mean, you could make a bunch of them, put them in the freezer, and just pull them out in the morning that you want to make them.
Great idea.
So we're gonna put this in the fridge, and we're gonna make a really quick, tasty blender salsa.
Okay, I like it. The first step in our blender salsa is to dump some fire-roasted tomatoes, salt, and hot sauce into a blender. Okay, do you like it spicy?
I like it kind of spicy. Between medium and hot, that's about where I...
There we go. We'll see how that goes.
If you want to add that lime juice into, and then I'm just going to roughly chop this cilantro. This is the secret to the good salsa, the fresh cilantro. Just really...
You can't have good salsa without fresh cilantro, I think.
Brightens it up for us,
It
too.
sure does.
There we go.
That's it?
That's all.
Okay, and just pulse.
Yep. There we go. You got it.
Okay.
And you're in.
There we go. There, that looks delicious.
Now we'll get ready to make some fajitas.
Okay.
We did this earlier, so it's
Okay.
been marinating for about 8 hours. Now it's ready
Nice
to be cooked.
and flavorful. I start slicing up the peppers while Kristen cuts the onion.
And then I'm gonna wrap up these corn tortillas.
Just a cotton.
White flour sack, just a little bit damp. This way your corn tortillas will stay nice and soft. Because
Okay.
you know how sometimes if you fold them and
They
they'll
do.
break.
They get dry and then they split. And
You can just make a stack and just wrap it up. And then we'll put it in the microwave for about 1.5 to 2 minutes. And that steam from the slightly damp towel is just gonna heat it up.
Wow. Once our veggies are sliced, we start stir frying them. And after a couple of minutes, we take them off the heat, cook our meat, and toss in the veggies at the end.
And just like that, we're ready.
Like that, we're done. Smells amazing.
Nice and bright.
Yeah. Awesome. Time to eat.
We have some different toppings for you.
Oh, we have our
salsa
blender
that we made,
salsa.
our blender salsa.
I like everything.
You like it all.
I do. I like it all. I kind of load mine up. Thank you. Thank you. Perfect. Have to have the salsa.
This is gonna be a big bite.
Yeah, I don't know about this.
Ready?
Oh, it's delicious. The meat is tender.
And you can see some of that marinade, it stayed in there, it got on all the vegetables. Some of mine's dripping out the side.
Yeah. It's messy, but easy.
Easy to have any night of the week.
Right. I have it all over my face. I know I do.
That's a good thing.
So delicious.
It means you liked it, right?
To get Kristen's Weeknight fajitas recipe, visit our website at wagrown.com. As you can see, there's a reason Washington is one of the top producers of hay in the nation. That's it for this episode of Washington Grown. Thanks for watching.